Well, it's been a while, hasn't it? I said it was going to be a longer wait than the time between parts 1 and 2, but even I didn't expect it to take this long. Long story short, computer decided to have problems and I had to re-record most of the video. But at least it's complete now. So, let's not wait any longer and dive into the final layers of the definitive Power Rangers Iceberg Explained. Layer 5, Project Nomad. Project Nomad was a cancelled AAA game that was revealed on Twitter by Jason Bischoff. Pitched in 2016, it was described as being similar to the Batman Arkham series in tone and had online co-op similar to Gotham Knights years before that would be released. Financial issues relating to the budget of the game and Saban being stretched thin with the development of the 2017 movie caused the pitch to be rejected. Only pieces of concept art are what's left of the ambitious game. Ranger keys in Super Megaforce toy line. While the Ranger suits did show up in the show, those and the other Sentai exclusive suits that made it onto Super Megaforce didn't get toy releases. Yet for whatever reason, the Ranger keys would find their way onto product images and prototypes being shown off. It's unknown if this was a remnant of the Squadron Rangers being more integrated into the show, and that's why Bandai bothered to make these prototypes, or how else these could have slipped in with the other keys. 7-Eleven exclusive Ranger keys. When the release of other Ranger keys outside of the main male Rangers was up in the air, there was a lot of speculation on how or if the girl Ranger keys or 6 Ranger keys would be released. A tweet and a Facebook post from the Bandai Card Games account would announce that brand new Ranger keys would be coming and releasing exclusively through 7-Eleven. Nothing ever came of this, and those missing keys would later be released down the line as Toys R Us exclusives. Plex. Plex is a design company that was established in 1981 that makes designs for TV and toys and are known for creating suits, monsters, and mecha for Super Sentai. They would also work with the Power Rangers productions across the years and create new designs such as the Titanium Ranger, Spirit Rangers, and the Mega Modes. Bioman. Bioman was Haim Saban's first attempt at bringing Super Sentai to the US, and the pilot was shot in 1986. The pilot would have had a being named Bioman give 5 people powers to become biorhythm users and be helped by Alpha 5. Saban must have really liked Peebo enough to keep the idea of a robotic assistant in the show for it to survive as a concept for so long. The pilot had some notable names attached to it, including Mark Dacascos, who had notable roles like Zero from John Wick Chapter 3, Zebulon in Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, and Jimmy Lee from the Double Dragon movie. Dacascos played Victor Lee, an early version of Jason. Trisha Fisher, Carrie Fisher's half-sister, also appears in the pilot as the prototype Trini. And most fun for me was the inclusion of Miguel A. Nunez Jr., who's had many roles like Demon Winter in Friday the 13th Part 5, Spider in Return of the Living Dead, DJ in the Street Fighter movie, and the title character in the all-time cinematic masterpiece, Juwanna Mann.
I'm here!
Juwanna Mann.
Juwanna Mann?
Juwanna Mann.
Juwanna Mann.
Yes, Juwanna Mann.
The only footage available currently is what was recut for the Galaxy Rangers pitch. Paul Schreier has seen the pilot, and Miguel Nunez Jr. has stated he has a copy of it, but it's buried somewhere in storage. Maybe someday the original pilot will be released to the public. I think it's a matter of when, rather than if, we'll ever see it. Power Rangers Live 2021. In 2021, a live show was meant to tour the United States and was never mentioned again after its original announcement. It's notable for its awful costumes that try to stylize them into a weird, unique vision that just ends up kind of jarring. Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark? This is not. Anyways, the story would have involved a Ranger Academy, presumably attacked by Lord Zed. There aren't many pictures that exist, but the ones that do don't really tell us anything else. Original setting for Lightspeed Rescue. Originally, Lightspeed Rescue is meant to take place in space like the previous 2 seasons. This can clearly be seen in its use of the word Lightspeed, and the logo and packaging uses a starry, cosmic background. My personal speculation is that along with riding the coattails of the previous seasons being set in space, Toei may have sent images of the Max Solar Zord and Omega Megazord in pre-production materials, and Saban may have believed that this one was actually space-themed, like when they saw Mega Ranger during pre-production of In Space. X-Men crossovers. In the early 90s, the X-Men and the Power Rangers were incredibly popular and gave Fox Kids its highest ratings. Because of this, there were shirts featuring Jim Lee's comic art of the team and the merchandise art of the Rangers together. The second Mighty Morphin season premiere and X-Men's third season premiere were both aired together in primetime in 1994. Due to their smashing successes, there were even plans for an animated crossover between the two. However, online sources say one show was considered too popular over the other every time the idea was revisited. And all that exists is a piece of art by X-Men storyboard artist Will Minot. I got to speak with the producer and director of the X-Men animated series, Larry Houston, at San Diego Comic-Con 2023. And according to him, he doesn't exactly remember why this crossover never happened, but he remembers that the teams for both shows couldn't come to an agreement on certain things. Mr. Houston was nice enough to email Will Minot and ask him what he remembered from the time, and he said,
I talked to Will. He said when we went back to Fox in '97, their ratings were in a tailspin and was asked for an idea to kickstart their new season, and he came up with this. Saban had concerns about doing an animated version of Power Rangers, especially with the live-action show still on the air. The idea went away after the live-action X-Men movie deal was announced.
Demo themes. Over the years, some demo themes for certain seasons have been leaked or shown off online. The earliest known one was the Wild Force theme that played after the Time Force finale. It's not known why this was changed, but it's believed to be linked with the Disney acquisition, and that the rights for the original theme were not part of that acquisition, thus necessitating the change. Mystic Force was meant to have its theme be done by Ron Westerman as well, but was changed for a hip-hop theme to appeal more to kids. The last notable set of demo themes was for RPM, which had 5 different demos released, including 2 that were done by Dan Avidan of Game Grumps fame. Time Force movie / season 2. Time Force had a lot going for it back in 2001. It was popular and the cast had a great chemistry. So much so that there were tentative plans to bring back the Time Force Rangers for another season. Whether this was going to be a Ju 2 situation and keep the suits, or they would have become the new Wild Force Rangers is unknown. A movie was also briefly discussed, however a looming Screen Actors Guild strike as it entered pre-production shuttered those plans, and the impending acquisition by Disney also might have played a role. Lost Galaxy's budget increase because of Mystic Knights Season 2's cancellation. Lost Galaxy was able to do a lot more this season than previous ones, and has a large amount of original footage made specifically for it. This was helped further by the cancellation of the show Mystic Knights of Tir na Nog's second season, and toy line subtitled Battle Thunder. Mystic Knights was an original show from Saban based on Irish mythology with knights and wizards that wasn't particularly popular when it aired. I'd considered giving this one its own topic on the iceberg, but there's so little of it that connects to Power Rangers other than this and one of its toys being re-released later down the line during Mystic Force. But this is about as much as I'm going to give it. Yoshi Sudarso cameo in Ninja. Yoshi Sudarso played Koda, the Blue Dino Charge Ranger, and is a noted Power Rangers and Sentai fan. Yoshi got the opportunity to cameo in Shuriken Sentai Ninja's 34th episode, which aired during his run in Dino Charge as well. Of note of his cameo is he plays a tourist that gets saved by Owl Ninja, whose American counterpart, Ninja Steel Blue, would go on to be played by his brother Peter Sidarsa. Cybertron pilot.
Cybertron. Our home.
Not that Cybertron. Cybertron was an early name for a project that would eventually evolve into VR Troopers. Rather than adapt 2 shows in one like VR Troopers would, this show would have only adapted Chojinki Metalder. The show was originally meant to star Jason David Frank after his stint as Tommy on Mighty Morphin was over. However, his immense popularity as Tommy was unexpected, and the show was retooled into the VR Troopers that we know now. The theme made for Cybertron was even retooled into the Green Ranger's new theme when he returned to Mighty Morphin.
Target spotted, Vector 6-9. Remember.
Come on, my friend. One more time.
It's also believed the Cybertron name was changed due to sharing the name with the Transformers' home planet. Similar to the rumor that Tales of Eternia was named Tales of Destiny 2 in North America, to avoid trademark infringement with Mattel for Masters of the Universe setting, also called Eternia. Sentai Toy Imports. No, this isn't about Bandai of America using the original Japanese molds for a while, but Bandai would sometimes offer the actual Japanese products for international markets. The earliest of these was Gingayo, which released in its original packaging and only having a sticker denoting that it was related to Lost Galaxy. This release was die-cast, something that the American release lacked. Once the 20th anniversary rolled around, they began releasing Nippon Edition Megazords, with Shinkano and Gosei Great. There were plans to release Gokaiyo in the line, as seen in the UK catalog, but that was quietly cancelled. Scorpion Rain. Scorpion Rain was an early internet hoax about a 5-part serial leading up to the release of the Turbo movie that would have explained what happened between the end of Zeo, with Zed's proclamation of being back, and the Turbo movie where him and Rita have seemingly abandoned those plans. One of the masterminds behind the hoax was Ahmet Bamek, who would go on to write Forever Red, and considered Scorpion Rain to be canon as he wrote it, explaining Serpentera's appearance on the moon, Zed having been defeated, and the line,
Oh man, that is one ugly sword.
Bulk and Skull spinoff. A Bulk and Skull series was in development at one point since they were so popular in their own right. The concept for the series was described as Faulty Towers-esque, where they ran a hotel with a Mexican Elvis impersonator named Elvis. The reason this series didn't get off the ground was due to low sales of a Bulk and Skull compilation VHS called The Good, the Bad, and the Stupid, which was made to test the market. Power Rangers in Masked Rider finale. After Masked Rider had his backdoor pilot in Mighty Morphin, there were plans for the Rangers to return the favor and appear in the finale Invasion of Leewood. Bringing the Rangers over would have ballooned the budget, and this idea was dropped, instead adapting Black RX's final arc in a more straightforward way, with the previous writers taking the place of the Rangers. Zeo comic series by Image. In 1995, the Zeo Rangers got an ongoing comic series published by Image Comics. Yeah, Image lost the license almost immediately and only one issue was ever released. However, 4 scripts were being completed for further issues. Power Morphicon 2012 Mighty Morphin redesigns. During Power Morphicon 2012, a panel was hosted by Tsuyoshi Nonaka, a Plex designer, about the development and design of Sentai and Power Rangers from 1992 onwards. At the end of the panel, he revealed redesigns for the Red Mighty Morphin Ranger and Megazords. He claimed that these were personal projects he made for fun, but these are pretty interesting nonetheless. Samurai Mega Mode inspiration. Tsuyoshi Nonaka also designed the Samurai Rangers Mega Modes and spoke about it at the Pacific Media Expo in 2011. Nonaka said the Mega Mode designs were heavily inspired by the 1995 movie suits, and the more armored look suited an American market more. He would also state that this kind of armor design in tokusatsu was usually reserved for Kamen Rider. Zordon created the Quasar Sabers. There is a theory that the ancient Quasar Sabers were actually placed on Miranoi 3,000 years prior to the events of Lost Galaxy by Zordon. This theory was particularly popular since every Ranger team prior had Zordon involved in their creation. However, years later, it would be revealed that the very idea was floated around in the writer's room. In an early draft for the premiere episode, Quasar Quest Part 1, Maya the Yellow Galaxy Ranger would outright state that Zordon had given the sword's ancient powers. Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad was an American adaptation of Denko Chojin Gridman that aired from 1994 to 1995 and ran for 53 episodes and was made to write off the success of Mighty Morphin. Super Samurai Cyber Squad, while not as popular as Mighty Morphin, did have its fans and was considered important enough to be referenced in the 2018 anime revival of Gridman, SSSS Gridman. While the SSSS in that series stood for Special Signature to Save a Soul, the initials are also a tribute to Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. Gridman's assist weapons in the anime are also named after their American counterparts as well. Johnny Young Bosch wanted to kill off Adam. Johnny Young Bosch was channeling his inner Harrison Ford for a while during the 2 times he came back to Power Rangers, and would pitch the idea of killing off Adam during Always a Chance and Once a Ranger just for fun, but was shot down both times. It's unknown if he tried pulling this a 3rd time when he was brought back for Once and Always, however. Jason David Frank in Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. Kamen Rider Dragon Knight was the 2nd attempt at bringing Kamen Rider to an American audience. This time produced by Adness Entertainment and was adapted from 2002's Kamen Rider Ryuki. Jason David Frank was in the running to play Len, the secondary writer of the show Wing Knight. Unfortunately, Jason David Frank would not get the role due to producers fearing that his appearance might make people believe that the show was set in the same universe as Power Rangers, and the role would eventually go to Matt Mullins. The Rescue Mission. This is the name of the 18th episode of Lost Galaxy. This episode is particularly notable due to how un-Power Rangers it is compared to any other episode in the franchise. It's basically an Aliens homage that uses absolutely zero Sentai footage. Not even any regular villains show up. This episode is about an alien ship that sends an emergency signal, and Leo, Mike, and some soldiers are sent to see what happened. They get stalked by a spider-like monster that already killed and webbed up the crew of the ship. The Rangers barely appear morphed in this episode, and there's not even a Zord battle either. It's a really interesting episode because of how unlike anything else it is in the franchise's history, and is absolutely a recommended watch. It's very standalone in nature, so you can just watch this one if the idea piques your interest. Power Rangers in South Korea. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was dubbed into Korean in 1994 as The Invincible Power Rangers, and other seasons from Zeo to Wild Force would also get dubbed and broadcast in South Korea. Starting with Dino Thunder, they would opt to simply dub the Sentai but keep the Power Rangers name. They'd eventually stop using the American name of a season and just name their seasons Power Rangers something Force. Real creative, I know. Of note, their dub of Kyoryuger, Dino Force, proved so popular that there was a South Korean exclusive sequel series called Power Rangers Dino Force Brave, which was supported with a new toy line. Trip Takes a Stand. This was the 19th episode of Time Force that dealt with a topic thought too taboo for a kids show, especially with the theme of the series: systemic racism. The monsters of the week in this series are frozen maximum security prisoners from the X Vault that all happen to be mutants, and when thawed out, work with Ransik. This episode reveals, however, that one mutant named Notakon, oh, I get it, not a con, who was arrested for a petty theft for stealing vegetables because he was homeless, and no one would give him food because he was considered scary. Despite being jailed for a relatively small crime, he still gets put in the X Vault with the most dangerous criminals. He eventually meets Trip and befriends him before Eric shows up and tries to destroy him, saying,
"But you don't understand. This mutant isn't violent."
Not violent? Don't make me laugh. They're all violent.
even proclaiming,
"You think they deserve the same justice we do? Why? They're not even human. Look at him, he's a freak!"
Of course, Eric comes around by the end of the episode, but it's a strangely poignant commentary on the American justice system. This is a sort of follow-up to a previous episode which showed Ransik's origin, but focused on eugenics, with Ransik even saying,
Unfortunately, the future isn't very accepting of imperfection.
It's episodes like these that give Time Force its well-deserved reputation of a more mature season compared to others. SPD powers before 2025. Despite SPD taking place in 2025, Their powers and weapons have appeared in-universe before then, including in Super Megaforce and Beast Morphers.
There's a simple explanation for that.
Or two. First, the Morphin Grid is connected to all powers, past, present, and future. In the Dino Thunder short before it began, Ethan and Kira get a glimpse into the future thanks to the Morphin Grid and see the SPD Rangers. Later in SPD, two separate team-ups with the Dino Thunder Rangers see them going back in time, meaning their power existed for a time in 2005, thus leaving an imprint of their power in the past, with anyone accessing the Ranger database or Morphin Grid to see those powers. Like a self-fulfilling paradox of sorts. Dimensions in Danger expanded roster. According to an early draft of Dimensions in Danger, the 10 returning Rangers would have been aided during the final battle by an extra 5 Rangers, including Ninjor, Phantom Ranger, Titanium Ranger, Quantum Ranger, and the Shadow Ranger. They would have only appeared towards the end, however, and possibly even as a suit-only appearance. It's unknown why they were cut from the final episode. Leftover Sentai concepts. Sometimes during the toy line, details from the Sentai that may have been planned to appear make it into the toys, but not the final show. Though rare, it has happened, like with Zurgane's figure having a removable head, showing a smaller bug creature piloting him like a robot, which was the case in Hurricaneger, but not in Ninja Storm. Jungle Fury Yellow's initial figure came with a little orange cat-like robot that was a training tool called Robo-Tough in Geki Ranger, but was unused. The weirdest one of all came with the Full Throttle Gold Ranger figure in RPM. These Full Throttle figures usually came with minifigures of grinders and other villains, but for some reason the Gold Ranger figure came with a minifigure based on Kegalesia, one of the generals from Go-Onger, who was pseudo-adapted into Tenaya 7. Zed and Rita are Jewish? During the Wedding 3-parter in Season 2, there's a song that plays during the wedding party called Hava Nagila. This is a traditional Hebrew folk song played at Jewish weddings, bar mitzvahs, and bat mitzvahs.
Come, everyone, time to dance! Yeah, more it, baby! I can't believe it.
This would imply one of them practices the Jewish faith if it plays at their wedding, right? I mean, most likely this was just a fun little inclusion in the show's soundtrack by composer and co-creator Shuki Levy, who himself is Jewish. Dr. Edward Payne. Dr. Edward Payne was a character that only appeared in early casting sheets for Dino Thunder. He would have filled the same role that Tommy would have in the final show as the Rangers' teacher and Anton Mercer's former partner. This character is made as a backup in the event that negotiations with Jason David Frank were not successful. Movie suits in Season 3. While the Tengu Warriors and Ninjetti costumes ended up being reused for the show, the armored suits made for the movie never made the jump. But that wasn't always the plan. According to Karen Ashley, who played Aisha, the metallic armor was going to use the movie suits. She said on the Power Rangers Playback podcast, hosted by fellow castmates Nakia Burris and Catherine Sutherland,
they were gonna try to do the movie costumes, but they fell apart too much, so they went metallic.
I spoke with Karen Ashley at San Diego Comic-Con 2023, and she told me that the idea had been to align the show closer aesthetically to the movie once Season 3 rolled around, even redesigning the command center, but nothing other than the Ninjetti suits and the Tengas ever made the jump. Prototype samurai heads. When the Bandai of America site was updated to include samurai toys, the Switch Morphin figures were shown off and used the Mega Mode design with the balaclava. For whatever reason, however, the batch of pictures also included the prototype versions of the helmetless sculpts. These helmetless sculpts used newly molded heads based on Jason, Billy, and Tommy. These may have initially been made for an updated Automorphin line had Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 2010 continued, but could have also been made for the Samurai line because even if there wasn't a show to promote the toys, Bandai would have still made figures to continue the shelf presence in stores. Cybercore pitch. Another Ahmed Bamik pitch for the franchise, this was an idea for a Go Busters adaptation prior to Beast Morphers. Rather than take place on Earth, this was supposed to take place on Miranoi, the planet seen at the beginning and end of Lost Galaxy. The city on Miranoi would have been founded by the survivors of Terra Venture, with Kendrix Morgan, the Pink Galaxy Ranger, as mayor. Maya the Yellow Ranger would have also returned as the new chieftain of the tribe she was a part of in Lost Galaxy, and at odds with the new high-tech city taking more and more of land from her planet. Some of what Ahmet pitched actually ended up in the final show, whether it was taken directly from it or someone else's pitch is unknown, but this includes the energy towers taking their powers from the morphing grid, Vengex being revealed as the main villain, and Dr. K making an appearance. The Devil May Cry connection. The cast of Capcom's beloved hack and slash has a surprisingly deep connection to the Power Rangers. Starting in Devil May Cry 3, Virgil is voiced by Dan Southworth, who played Eric the Quantum Ranger in Time Force. Power Rangers would even acknowledge this in Eric's reveal trailer for Battle for the Grid, where he says the lines,
"Foolishness, Lord Zed.
And
I need more quantum power,"
riffing on Virgil's famous quotes. Nero, Virgil's son, would be introduced in the next game and be played by Johnny Young Bosch, who played Adam in Mighty Morphin and Beyond. Even Dante has an indirect connection to Power Rangers in Tokusatsu. Also starting with Devil May Cry 3, Ruben Langdon took over the role of Dante, and he started his acting career in Japan appearing in Beef Fighter Kabuto as Mac Windy, aka Beef Fighter Yanma. Later he'd eventually move to the US and work as a stuntman on Power Rangers from Lost Galaxy to Wild Force. He was even the stuntman for Steelon, the Machine Empire General from Forever Red, which reused the Yanma costume. The Power Rangers connection even extends to the failed reboot, where Virgil is played this time by David De La Tour, who played RJ in Jungle Fury.
It's a super night of superheroes on Fox. Starting with America's #1 super warriors, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Let's go! TV Guide says they're as hot as you can get without actually bursting into flames. Then, primetime power continues with the animated smash hit, The X-Men. Make your move, hotshot. Catch all new episodes of the Power Rangers and the X-Men on a super night of superheroes tonight starting at 8/7 Central on Fox.
Crash into the digital world. Megavirus monsters are clobbering Servo. It's Vitor, Tracto, and Boar. Just in time. Quick, Samurais into Xenon. Jam and Torb combine cyber powers as Samurais into Drago. You picked the wrong guys to mess with, you Megavirus maniacs. Deluxe Servo, Deluxe Drago, and Deluxe Xenon. Samurais for your protection. Superhuman Samurai. Cyber Squad.
Layer 6. David Yost's departure. Billy was the longest serving member of the original 5 Teenagers with Attitude. He started off as the Blue Ranger since Day of the Dumpster, and was the only one to continue into Zeo. However, Billy abruptly left the show to be with his Aquitian girlfriend, and for the better part of 27 years was never seen on screen again. This was unfortunately due to David Yost's treatment on set for many years. He was an openly gay man who was shamed and felt uncomfortable during his production. He would contemplate suicide and his mental health deteriorated greatly, and he would even send himself to gay conversion therapy, but that only made things worse for him. David would one day just walk off the set and not look back, causing Billy to be written off the show, and plans for him to be in the Turbo movie and create the Turbo powers to be dropped, which was already being teased in episodes leading up to his departure. He's now more open and comfortable about his sexuality and participates in LGBT support groups. He would finally return to the franchise in 2023's Once and Always special. Passing of Tui Trang. Tui Trang, the actress who brought Trini Kwan to life in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, unfortunately passed away on September 3rd, 2001 at the age of 27. She was involved in a freak vehicular accident on the way back from visiting a fellow bridesmaid for actress Angela Rockwood's wedding. She is remembered fondly by both fans and castmates. The Time Force episode, Circuit Unsure, ends with a tribute to Tui, and was the first episode to air after her passing. The 30th anniversary special, Once and Always, also serves as a tribute to Tui's legacy. Pua Magasiva controversy. Pua Magasiva was a New Zealand-based actor of Samoan descent who played Shane, the Red Ranger in Ninja Storm. News broke that he had taken his life on May 11th, 2019. Fans were gutted at the news, and there was an outpouring of love for the actor in the following days. However, it would later be revealed that Magasiva had a history of domestic abuse against his wife. He would threaten to hurt himself, his wife, or their daughter should his wife go to the police. His wife had also found a diary where he wrote his thoughts of self-loathing and guilt. Valerie Vernon's departure. Valerie Vernon played Kendrix during Lost Galaxy from the first episode until Protect the Quasar Saber. This is because she was unfortunately diagnosed with leukemia during the show's production, and she left the show in order to undergo chemotherapy. After she left, she was still credited as a main cast member throughout the season's run, so that she could be paid and be able to afford the treatment. She thankfully recovered, and her character was resurrected in the finale, and she would return for the team up with the Lightspeed Rangers the following year. Monica May OnlyFans. Monica May played Z, the Yellow Ranger from SPD, and was recently in a little bit of controversy. Monica wasn't having a particularly lucrative acting career after Power Rangers, and it only worsened once the COVID-19 pandemic began. Monica would end up opening an OnlyFans account and saying in an interview,
"It was a really difficult decision, but I needed to do something to survive."
Many fans of the show would criticize her for this decision because it tainted her image, but she did not care for these statements and responded with,
"There are ultimately a lot of people who have a problem, but ultimately it's my body and my choice what I do with it. I'm doing what I like."
And she has a point. She can't be tied down to one role forever, and if she enjoys it, then who is anyone to criticize her for it? Morphin Madness. This was an online promotional campaign named after March Madness that asked fans to vote for their favorite Rangers, and the top 5 would get a special set of metallic Ranger keys that would only be given out to 5 winners, along with a 24-karat gold legendary Morpher. Once you voted, you were automatically entered to win. There was some controversy, however. Sometime into the campaign, it was found that some votes were tampered with and had been hacked, but were eventually removed. Another minor controversy was Jason David Frank campaigning online for fans to vote for his Rangers to win. Other fans were upset at this because they wanted new Ranger keys, and those based on Tommy were certainly guaranteed to come out even if he didn't win the contest just due to how popular he is. The winning Rangers of the campaign, however, were Mighty Morphin Red and White, Phantom Ranger, Time Force Pink, and Titanium Ranger. Lightspeed Rescue at Universal Studios. On May 27th and 28th of 2000, the Power Rangers would return to Universal Studios for the first time since their massive show in 1994. This time, it would be the Lightspeed Rangers taking the stage at the Castle Theater to promote the new season and host the world debut of the Titanium Ranger. The Rangers would introduce themselves and put on a show with a Q&A photo session after each show. Even the motorcycles and the Humvee were on display at the park. However, only a few photos of the event, a press release, and a small feature in the Fox Kids magazine's Fall 2000 issue. That was until I stumbled upon this.
We're gonna need that, and I'm gonna show you a day of Power Rangers. Okay.
While looking for behind-the-scenes pictures and video for the show's entire run, I came across this video uploaded by Rhett Fisher himself on Vimeo. It had just been sitting there for 7 years with only under 800 views. It was like I'd found a hidden treasure. Then I saw it was uploaded with 71,000 views on YouTube. But it felt cool to quote-unquote discover a forgotten video for a few minutes. At least I can share the video further and give it more exposure now. Time Force 9/11 edits. Time Force originally ran from February 3rd to November 17th, 2001. Unfortunately, during its run, the World Trade Center attacks on September 11th occurred and caused a ripple, and not just in the show, but the entertainment industry as a whole. Episodes aired after had to be edited, but also previous episodes for reruns were edited. This included showing less buildings being destroyed and less civilians in danger. Rancic Libs had a scene with Rancic hijacking a broadcast and giving a terrorist-like speech to Silver Hills. This would be edited by just playing the show's theme over most of the speech.
And the weekend looks sunny and warm.
People of Silver Hills.
In Frax's fury, during the flashback at the end that showed how Rancic had believed he killed Dr. Ferrix, the edited version of the episode would remove the shots of the lab exploding, but kept the building on fire.
me when you destroyed my laboratory. Well, you almost did, but I survived. You thought you destroyed me when you destroyed my laboratory. Well, you almost did, but I survived.
There are many other edits throughout the show's run, some more subtle than others, but you can easily find videos that compare clips of the episodes from different sources, including VHS releases, DVD releases, Netflix, and the original broadcasts. Hurricane Charlie interruption. There's gotta be a broadcast interruption somewhere in there, right? Well, during the airing of the episode A Star is Torn from Dino Thunder, the broadcast was interrupted by a special report about Hurricane Charlie. Charlie, if you didn't know, was a Category 4 hurricane that hit Florida and was also one of the strongest hurricanes to ever hit the United States, with a total body count of 35. Ju-3. Ju-3 was a concept that would have had Toei film all-new Zord footage from Mighty Morphin when Ju-2 footage would have run out. Early concept art for these new Zords were created, and show redesigned Dino Zords that could combine with a newly redesigned Tiger Zord, who could either combine with the Zords themselves or become a gun for the Megazord a la Transformers Target Masters. As we know now, we didn't get that and instead imported the Die Ranger mecha wholesale and left the Dinozords behind. We would eventually get a Tiger Zord that combined with the Dinozords though, with the Legacy Line's releases using Zord Builder. Power Rangers Origins. This was a movie in development at ZAG Animation Studios, the same animation studio behind Miraculous Ladybug. The film would have been a modernized reimagining of the Mighty Morphin Rangers with a minimal redesign but a completely new Megazord. The film's existence was unknown until a concept trailer was leaked online. Some doubted its authenticity until Samj Animation, a frequent collaborator with ZAG, added Power Rangers 3D to a timeline of projects on its website. Later, during Licensing Expo 2015, during a trailer for Miraculous Ladybug, a character poster featuring the Blue Ranger appeared in the background of a shot. The movie would be put on hold, presumably to focus on the 2017 live-action movie. The trailer that leaked didn't show much, just the Rangers fighting a monster that I think is a redesigned Silverhorns, and forming the Megazord, followed by Trini taking off her helmet. There used to be a 1080p quality version of this trailer, however it was taken down, and all that exists is a lower quality version nowadays.
Johnny Cage
was a Power Ranger. Yes, Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat was indeed a Power Ranger. And I don't mean an actor that's played Johnny Cage in the past, I mean Johnny Cage, the character himself, was a Power Ranger. In the Mortal Kombat Legacy episode named after him, a TV producer played by Ed Boon, in his only on-screen cameo in the franchise, funnily enough, talks about Johnny's career and says,
"The fans just couldn't adjust to the fact that Johnny was getting older. To them, he would always be that ass-kicking teen heartthrob from Power Rangers."
So yeah, not only was he Ninja Mime, but even a Power Ranger. Maybe we can get the Mighty Morphin Rangers in Injustice 3 or something now. Deluxe Interactive Omega Megazord. At Toy Fair 2000, Bandai was showing off the new Lightspeed Rescue line. As with any year, lots of product was shown, including some that didn't end up releasing. One of these items is a very curious one that technically did release in a modified form, or unmodified if you look at it from a Sentai, the Rangers kind of way. The Deluxe Interactive Omega Megazord was a Megazord that was meant to interact with the show and possibly VHS releases and PC games using Microsoft's then patented Actimates technology. The Actimates line was a series of plush toys that could receive signals from broadcasts of shows or specially marked VHS releases, and the toys would react to what was happening on the show by using unique voice clips from original actors or other sound effects. For unknown reasons, this was cancelled and the Omega Megazord was released as a normal Deluxe Megazord, but a remnant of its original idea remained. The box was windowed when at the time all Deluxe Megazords were closed boxes, making this one stand out compared to the rest. The interactive release may have been cancelled due to Microsoft losing the patent rights to the Actimates technology around 2000. This may have also inadvertently created some loss of media with it, as there might be exclusive audio recordings done by the cast for the toy that either got thrown out after the toy was cancelled, or could just be sitting somewhere in Bandai's vault. Trini and Passing the Torch. Passing the Torch was a Turbo episode where the entire team, sans Justin, would be replaced by a new group, all while having this whole ceremony in the power chamber. The ceremony was supposed to be even grander than it was in the final episode. In an early draft of the script, every Ranger before was meant to come back and be part of the ceremony, including Jason, Zach, Kimberly, Aisha, Billy, Rocky, and Trini. They would have all been played by body doubles except for Trini, who was even given some speaking lines. It's unknown why this didn't happen in the final episode, but it definitely would have added a lot to the episode, especially since Alpha 5 and Zordon came back for this event. Power Ranger Heroes. Heroes is a fairly obscure line of budget re-releases that was active from 1999 to 2009. These figures weren't sold in regular retail, but in more budget-friendly retailers like KB Toys and CVS. These were simply re-releases of older mainline figures that then started to re-release the inaccurate bike figures. A glaring oddity with these is that it gave two Rangers in the line new, unrelated names. Titanium Ranger was released as VMAX Ranger, and the Triassic Ranger was released just as New Power Ranger. These were a cool way of getting older figures if you missed out on them, even if they did start to fall off towards the end of the line. Early box art Quantum Ranger. For some reason in early merchandising for Time Force, the Quantum Ranger sports a slight redesign compared to how he actually looks in the show. His arrow splits and he has a gold crest on his forehead that resembles the gold part of his belt. This design showed up on pillow sheets, Halloween costume, storybooks, and even made it into the PS1 game. This design was tossed aside however, and the main toy and packaging for later waves of figures would not use this design. Presumably this was done to differentiate him more from the Red Ranger, but I think the black parts of the suit contrast well enough from the rest of the team and didn't need any sort of redesign. Skylar De Leon. Skylar De Leon is a former child actor who appeared in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as a non-speaking extra. Though not famous for Power Rangers, he did become infamous in 2004. That year, Skylar and her wife Jennifer Henderson conspired to murder and steal from retired couple Thomas and Jackie Hawks. They mainly wanted to steal their yacht and sell it off. They arranged a purchase with the couple, then killed and disposed of the body. They were last seen alive on November 15, 2004. Eventually, Skylar and her wife were caught and arrested. When arrested, Skylar claimed to have been an actor on Power Rangers. Some news outlets ran with that and even claimed that she had played one of the Rangers themselves. Skylar had even taken credit for playing Roger, a character of the day from the episode Second Chance in the show's first season, but call sheets would disprove this, and Roger was played by an actor named Cosman Parker. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with capes. Sometime towards the latter half of the Disney era, merchandise featuring the Mighty Morphin Rangers but with capes would be released. This included trading cards, shirts, and a lunchbox as far as I could find. It's unknown if these were just meant to be for merchandising purposes or if this may have been part of some very early plans from Disney to go an animated route. Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills. This show with a stupidly long name that sounds like a parody is actually another show that came out of Mighty Morphin's success and was produced by Deke Entertainment, who also put out Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. It really feels like one of those fake shows within a show meant to represent a real show, but it kinda goes hard. The plot of the show is almost beat for beat Power Rangers, with an alien that chooses 4 teenagers to protect the Earth from an evil alien. But they're in Beverly Hills. This is so dumb that it kinda wraps around to being amazing.
It's so dumb.
It's so dumb, it's brilliant.
No! It's just dumb.
Stunt actor controversies. So, with Power Rangers being based on Sentai, there's a lot brought over to the US, including crew. A lot of the stunt actors are brought in from Japan or are former stunt actors now living abroad. Due to the more diverse nature of Power Rangers and the mainly Japanese stunt crew, this causes some problems. Some of the Japanese stunt actors have put on blackface for black actors who don't do their own stunts out of the suit. Hell, even Dino Fury, the most recent seasons, still have this issue. Sometimes they'll put on wigs and play women as well, and while maybe they should hire more female stunt crew, this isn't nearly as bad as the other one. Austin St. John COVID loan fraud. A crazy topic name, I know. In May of 2022, Austin St. John was arrested after being involved in a scheme that defrauded the Small Business Administration over the COVID Relief Fund program, the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP for short. In total, the scheme took $3.5 million in total. After his arrest and time awaiting trial, Austin St. John was unable to travel outside of the country, possibly explaining his absence in Once and Always. Though Hasbro might have been playing it safe, as the recent Lightning Collection remastered Red Ranger figure of him, which is meant to be the definitive version of the figure, does not include a helmetless head, whereas everyone else in the line did. Q-Rex in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Considering the Q-Rex traveled back to the past, this one doesn't sound so far-fetched. In actuality though, this is a case of using the first thing that pops up on Google Images. Oops. In the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers reversion from 2010, the roll call during Day of the Dumpster highlights everyone's Dinozord in the background, except for Jason's, whose background uses a picture of the Q-Rex from Time Force. This is believed to have happened because the image of the Q-Rex was one of the first images to appear when googling Dinozords, though apparently the person in charge of the 2010 edits claims that they took the screenshot directly from an episode of Mighty Morphin themselves. Yeah, right. Samuel Benta controversy. During the first ever Power Morphicon, a banner meant to raise money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation was signed by every ranger in attendance that year. Somehow after it was signed and ready to go to auction, it vanished. Samuel Benta, who played the Black Operation Overdrive Ranger, was accused of taking it and refusing to return it. The only evidence at first was footage of Benta leaving a panel hosted by Austin St. John with a rolled up item. He was supposedly banned from the convention for a time after the incident. In 2020, Benta would break his silence on the matter and clear things up. He claimed that he had got the signatures and put down the banner in the green room where fans were not supposed to be and looked away. And when he went back to get the banner, it was gone. According to him, it was his fault that it went missing, but he himself did not steal it, and that it was a genuine mistake on his part. Lucky draws. Lucky draw is a term that in this context refers to a very rare, limited toy that is only given away or sold in extremely low numbers. Usually these are just repaints. These are more common in Japanese lines, but even Power Rangers has dipped its toes into this as well. The earliest one I could find was a 14-karat gold-plated Galaxy Megazord, which was sold exclusively at FAO Schwartz, presumably at their flagship store in New York, with some units being later given away as prizes. It's estimated that there's about 15 that exist in the world. San Diego Comic-Con has been home to some limited 24-karat gold items as well, such as the Gosei Morpher and Tommy's Power Morpher in 2013, and a gold Dragon Dagger in 2014. The most recent one I was able to find was a gold-plated Dino Charge Megazord that was given away as a sweepstakes, with entries being given by completing a survey on Bandai of America's Dino Charge webpage. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 4. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 4 is the name of a Super Nintendo game that appeared on a press release from Bandai prior to E3 1996. It was listed along with a cancelled Beetleborgs Super Nintendo game, a cancelled WMAC Masters game for the PlayStation 1, and an untitled Dragon Ball game for the PS1, which may have ended up being Dragon Ball GT Final Bout, which released in 1997. A Mighty Morphin Power Rangers pinball game is also listed, which was likely retooled into Zeo Battle Pinball. But that leaves Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 4 as a mystery. There was another Power Rangers game on Super Nintendo with Zeo Battle Racers, which may have been what it turned into. The number may come from being the fourth game developed by Natsume, since if you beat the movie game on hard, the credits tell you to look out for a Power Rangers 3, the Fighting Edition, implying that this game is Power Rangers 2, and the previous Natsume game is Power Rangers 1. Zeo Battle Racers was developed by Natsume as well, so it may have originally been a Mighty Morphin title before being changed, but nothing else is known. Power Rangers Legacy game. During L Supersonic Q's search for a lost Big Comfy Couch game on the original Xbox, he reached out to Unseen64 regarding an article on the site about the Comfy Couch game, and was sent additional screenshots from a cancelled Power Rangers game from the same developer called Power Rangers Legacy. Both of these games were in development at the same time by a small developer called Genesia. If you want a more in-depth explanation on it, I highly recommend you go check out L Supersonic Q's 2 videos about the Comfy Couch games. Mighty Morphin before Power Rangers. You thought Power Rangers came up with the title Mighty Morphin? Nope, not at all. Despite Haim Saban claiming that the name was made up on the spot due to Power Rangers simply being too short, Bandai of Europe was already using the name earlier in 1993. Robo Machines, Mighty Morphin Heroes, was a line made up of previously released Machine Robo and GoBots toys from the 1980s, including a few that never made it outside of Japan. Cassie in Turn Up the Volume. When Patricia Jha Lee was meant to return and replace Valerie Vernon for a while, scripts for future episodes starring her were already in the process of being written, including Protecting Pink, which would have been the episode in which Cassie would have become the new Galaxy Pink Ranger. It was believed that nothing after The Power of Pink, the episode where Valerie Vernon left the show, was shot with Patricia as the new member of the Galaxy Rangers. That was until October of 2022, when a post on the Power Rangers subreddit revealed that Patricia Jha Lee had in fact filmed something prior to walking off set. This split-second cameo comes in the episode Turn Up the Volume, which was only 3 episodes after her last appearance. Perhaps footage for other episodes between them were shot, but there's no confirmation anywhere if there was. But at least it did finally answer the question on if anything was shot with her at all. Stingwinger bombers. One of the craziest things I think Power Rangers ever did that they could absolutely never get away with now are the Stingwinger suicide bombers that appear in part 2 of the Lost Galaxy finale. Trakina, having gone mad in her fusion with Deviat, strapped her Stingwingers with bomb vests in order to destroy the auxiliary Megazords and the Colony Terra Venture. Especially in a post 9/11 world, we could never see anything like this happen in Power Rangers, and it's honestly surprising to even see it here in the first place. Ranger Deniers. Power Rangers isn't known for its amazing or consistent writing, but even then it likes to throw a curveball and really throw its own logic out the window. Maybe there's more examples of this, but 3 moments in the main universe seem to show the Power Rangers equivalent of flat earthers. First, in Trakina's Revenge, when the receptionist tells the little girl,
"Now you know, dear, there's no such thing as monsters."
Note, the Earth was on the receiving end of a full-scale invasion only 2 years prior. Later in Ninja Storm, Power Rangers are implied to be comic book characters, with Dustin later saying,
"You're right."
Yes, see? I knew it, dude. I was right. Power Rangers are real.
Most recently in Megaforce, when the Blue Ranger saves a woman, she asks him,
"Are you some kind of superhero?"
At least with Ninja Storm, it was sort of meant to be a soft reset at first, but the other 2 are a genuine mystery. Fighting Edition for Genesis. While Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the movie games both got Genesis versions, the Fighting Edition never did for whatever reason. Sometime before 1998, an unlicensed port of the game was created for the Genesis. Surprisingly faithful in its graphics, gameplay, and sound effects, it looks like a decent enough bootleg. Supposedly, this was one of the first big unlicensed fighting games released on the Genesis, and other bootlegs would come out using the game as a base, such as King of Fighters 98 and Top Fighter 2000 Mark 8. Kamen Rider Drive in Ninja Steel. Fans believed Kamen Rider Drive was going to appear in Power Rangers Ninja Steel. Perhaps the Power Rider project was finally getting off the ground. The main piece of evidence from this came from Toy Fair 2017. On the wall showcasing the Ninja Power Stars that were releasing in the future, among them was the Tridoron Shuriken from Superhero Tyson GP Kamen Rider Sango. This allowed for Kamen Rider Drive's vehicle, Tridoron, to transform into a robot and combine with Shurikenjin, known as the Ninja Steel Megazord and Power Rangers. At least with the Die Ranger keys, you can maybe stretch that it wasn't on purpose, but here it had to be deliberate because the Tridoron Shuriken didn't even get a release in the Japanese line. The other smaller piece of evidence was that the monster from the Ninja vs. Tribe special showed up in the background of an episode, meaning that the suit was available and used in New Zealand. Kamen Rider Wizard in Dino Charge. In Dino Charge's reveal trailer, which premiered during Power Morphicon 2016, there was a split second that showed Kamen Rider Wizard. This was because it was using footage from the Superhero Time programming block intro. I'm mostly putting this on here because I spent way too much time looking for a trailer of Ninja Steel that had Drive in it to go with the Tridoron Power Star thing, because I was sure that that was what happened when I was misremembering this one. Kamen Rider Beast is also there too, by the way. Heroes of Space. To tie in with NASA's 40th anniversary in 1998, Bandai released 3 commemorative Power Rangers in Space 2 packs that included 1 Ranger and 1 real astronaut from a previous Apollo mission. Included with the 3 male Space Rangers were Alan Bean and Charles Conrad Jr. of the Apollo 12 landing, and Charles Duke of the Apollo 16 landing. Later on, these were released in a 3-pack of their own with no Power Rangers branding. A very weird but interesting collaboration that, timeline-wise, matched perfectly. Third-party toys. Third-party toys are unofficial toys that are made by companies not affiliated with the rights holder of a series. Transformers in particular have a lot of these, and even third-party upgrade kits for pre-existing official figures. Power Rangers never really had many made until the last couple years. A set of 1/6 scale figures similar to Hot Toys from Ace Toys and a line of combining vinyl figures by Black Seed Toys called Power Raiders are among the very few third-party toys that have been released, but maybe one day the market for these will grow like the Transformers have. Beast Morphers Orange. In 2019, a young boy named Tyler Rinker, an 8-year-old Make-A-Wish child from New Jersey, had his wish of becoming the Orange Ranger granted in order to make the world a safer place for everyone at the annual Make-A-Wish Gala on June 13th, 2019. The next month at San Diego Comic-Con 2019, a special variant cover for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 40 was released that featured Tyler's custom-made Ranger suit, drawn by Goñi Montes. 20% of each sale for the variant cover went to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I hope that very brave and very lucky kid is doing much better. Ernie was Zordon all along. There was an idea early on in the series to have Ernie, the juice bar owner, actually be Zordon in disguise, watching over the Rangers outside the command center. The idea was scrapped, but it's coincidentally similar to Jew Ranger, where Sage Barza, the mentor figure for that series, is actually introduced as a groundskeeper for a condominium while waiting for the right time to awaken the Jew Rangers. A different scrapped idea for the show was that Ernie would have known the Rangers' identity all along, which is why everything was always on the house. Nerdcore Entertainment animated series pitch. Disney had rejected a pitch for an animated Power Rangers series sometime in the mid to late 2000s from animation studio Nerdcore Entertainment, now known as Wild Brain Studios. This and an unconfirmed piece of concept art is all that's known to exist. The suits in this pitch resemble Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger more than anything Power Rangers related, with the same use of color choices and capes. Latin American exclusive stage shows. We talked about the failed 2021 live show before, but now we can get to the ones that were made, but only known to have happened in Latin America. The first of these was based on Turbo that premiered in Parque de la Costa in Argentina on July 4th, 1998. The show's plot seems to take inspiration from the Turbo movie, with Divatox attempting to summon Malagor, but instead of using Jason and Kimberly, she uses two explorers who were looking for the Temple of Malagor. The only footage of the show that's available now is thanks to Juan Manuel Olmedo, who played the Green Turbo Ranger during the show. While he did archive and upload the footage from the show and the commercials, the audio for the show is a little crusty and hard to make out. Unfortunately, the only other known live show that we know of that was exclusive to Latin America doesn't have any footage to work off of. Sometime around 2000 to 2001, a live stage show based on Lost Galaxy was made and toured around Mexico. A Facebook group called Sentai Ranger Cosplay posted a picture from this show. The Rangers were wearing some sort of exclusive power-up that resembles a mix between the Ginga Man's regular clothes, the Lights of Orion power-up, and the old American Dragon Shield. There is very little information from the show, with only the memories of those that went to the show more than 20 years ago left. Location-wise, we know that the show was at El Teatro de la Ciudad de México, El Tecnológico de Monterrey, Teatro Galerías in Zapopan, and an unnamed theater in Guadalajara. Some testimonies say that the show toured during Lightspeed Rescue's airing in Mexico. One even says they were promoting Sky TV, a Mexican cable service. One comment on that post even states that this show may have been recorded and televised on Mexican television along with other live shows. Another commenter claims the live show was promoted on El Cubo de Donalu, a children's variety show hosted by Graciela Mauri. The most detailed comment, however, even goes into detail about the plot of the show. The show would start on a screen with footage of the unmorphed Rangers, dubbed by their Spanish dub actors, before morphing, and the suit actors appearing from the sides of the stage. The stage would have hidden trampolines for the actors to jump high and do stunts, and the commenter described the production value to be fairly high, and the suits and helmets being well made. At some point, the Pink Ranger gets kidnapped, and the Rangers would chase the villains through the crowd. Outside the show, there was a merch booth that sold pins, toys, shirts, and lightsaber-like toys that were cheap and just had the Lost Galaxy branding and stickers on them. This is even corroborated by another user who shared a picture of him with the Rangers holding the same light-up sword mentioned by the other user. Notably, the picture is dated March 2001, possibly March 1st if that is a 1 and not just a line separating the month and year. The user ended this post with remembering that this show happened during Lightspeed Rescue's Mexican airings, even saying he went to McDonald's right after and they were doing the Lightspeed Rescue Happy Meal promotion. The picture included on the original post from Sentai Ranger Cosplay also showed the monsters included in the show. These include the Stingwingers, Psycho Yellow's monster form, and 3 other monsters. The first being covered by the Green Ranger, I believe is Psycho Red's monster form, just recolored green due to the shape of the shoulders and his head, which also has the same yellow streak as the original. The other monster behind the Blue Ranger I wasn't able to identify. There is one other monster whose arm is coming out from the side of the picture, and yeah, I'm not even going to try to figure that one out. Hopefully the show gets found one day like the Turbo one, because this one looks to be really well made, and maybe even on par with the Sentai live shows perhaps.
Bienvenidos, Power Rangers. Llegan a la Argentina y solo en el Parque de la Costa podés ver su fabuloso show en vivo.
The Aqua Base is under attack. Go to red alert! And battlings now control the Megazord.
We have got to evacuate.
Can the Power Rangers escape the depths of an underwater grave?
It's gonna hit! Everybody hold on!
Find out on an all-new two-part adventure on Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, beginning tomorrow afternoon at 3:30, only on Fox Kids.
And with that, we have finally finished our journey through this large and vast iceberg. Was there anything I missed? Did I make any mistakes? Let me know, because I want to do a supercut of this series that includes any corrections and additions down the road. There were some topics I realized I could have added towards the end of the making of this last part, but I didn't want to have to delay it any further than I already had. Anyways, if you stuck around this long, thank you. I'm surprised that I gained as many views and subs as fast as I did. I'm not going to solely cover Power Rangers or icebergs on this channel, but I may come back to them sooner rather than later. Hopefully my hard work and research has convinced you to stick around for whatever comes next on the channel. Once again, I have to thank everyone that helped make this possible. That is too many to list, but I'll have them all on screen right now. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the future. Later.